Hey everyone, happy Friday, and welcome to another episode of the Bible, one book, one verse at a time. So today we're going to look at the book of 1 Samuel. Now, originally 1st and 2nd Samuel were probably one book at one time, but due to the length of scrolls and other things, they were separated so that you could actually carry them around. It would be too heavy to have the whole thing together, or the whole story in one scroll. And the stories that are told in 1st and 2nd Samuel are probably some of the most intricate character studies and most intensive stories that you read in all of the Old Testament and maybe even all of the Bible. You see so much of these characters. And of course, the main characters are Samuel, Saul, and David. We'll talk more about them in a minute, but I think the key verse in this comes actually from Hannah's prayer. Now, Hannah is this woman who is grief-stricken at the very beginning of the book because she is unable to bear children, and the other people that are around her are making fun of her and they're mocking her for it, and so finally we get this glimpse of Hannah at the temple or the shrine of Shiloh, and just begging for God to do something. And God hears her prayer and gives her a son, and so then she takes that son, names him Samuel, and gives him to the priest Eli at that time. Now, when she does so, she's filled with joy and she sings a song. And in this song, we get a glimpse of God's working, but then also the ways in which the story will unfold as we move forward. So the verse I want to pick out is 1 Samuel 2, verse 8. Here she says, "The Lord, that is Yahweh, raises the poor from the dust, and he lifts the needy from the ash heap. He seats them with princes, has them inherit a throne of honor. For the foundation of the earth are the Lord's. On them he has set the world." And there's two kind of main themes in here. The first is the sovereignty of God, the fact that God is at work no matter what it seems like is happening on the outside. And remember, this starts again at the time of Judges, when there's moral chaos and people are just doing kind of whatever they see fit. Although we do hear that there are some glimpses, like the glimpses that we see with Ruth and Boaz. But ultimately, there's this sense in which things are going in a very bad direction. And yet here, Hannah says, no, God still is in control. And then there's two kind of main themes here. God opposes the proud and he raises up the humble. And this actually shows to be kind of the story as we move forward along the way. What God asks from us is to humbly accept that he is God, to accept the way that he outlines the best way for us to live, and then to live that out. Now, the problem is, often we want to do our own thing. I mean, that's a story all the way back in Genesis, and you see that over and over in here. We see this in Eli's sons, who use the priesthood for their own physical and pleasurable advancement. You see this in Saul, who starts off as kind of this, well, he seems to be this really credible person, a great first king. He's tall, he's strong, he's young, and he seems to do what he wants, but there's some major character flaws that he has. And the story of all of these people, Eli's sons and Saul and even David, and we'll get to David more in 2 Samuel, but it's all a story of God exalting them, raising them up, even when he doesn't want to. The people of Israel ask for a king, and Samuel says, well, you're replacing God. God is your king. And God says, no, just give it to him. This is how we want this to work out, even though he's not happy with the request. But anyway, he exalts Saul, and then Saul becomes proud, and he thinks that he can do things all on his own. And ultimately, it leads to his own madness and to his own demise at the end of the book. So that's the main theme of 1 Samuel. And these character studies help us to see maybe glimpses of ourselves. And we need to be reminded to look at our own character flaws and not be proud of who we are or what we have accomplished, but remember God is ultimately in control, and he asks us to acknowledge his leadership, his lordship, and that he ultimately has what is best in mind for us. So if this has been helpful for you, and if you want to continue walking through these books as we go through the Bible one book, one verse at a time, I'd encourage you to subscribe to this channel. Maybe ring the little bell on YouTube so that you become aware of all of the new videos when they come out. And comment down below on how you see this story playing out in 1st and 2nd Samuel. And maybe what your favorite part or your favorite story or character is in this story.